Welcome back to another Blockbusters trade proposal video. We have three trades in this one. Masataka Yoshida's name has been swooped up by the trade winds and is blowing around now. Dylan Cease, I feel like we keep hearing more and more about him. So we're going to feature him again, and we're going to go back to a familiar trade partner, and I'll tell you why when we get to his portion. And Jesus Luzardo is maybe, at this moment, the most coveted pitcher in the trade market. So we're going to send him to Queens, and I'm going to explain why in all of these trades. We'll run through the why, we'll run through the actual trades, what works. I want you guys to comment down below. If your team is featured here, what are you willing to give up? Do you approve the trade that we run through? And if your team is not here, I know this is National League East heavy today, and that is not on purpose. It's just how it worked out. If you're not featured here, do you want to trade for one of these players, and are you going to get them? I know Orioles fans, you want Dylan Cease. I know Red Sox fans, you want Jesus Luzardo. Comment below, what is your trade? And if you enjoy your time here, make sure to hit that like. Let's go. Let's start with Yoshida, the newest name added to the trade wins. And it starts right here with The Athletic, talking about the Red Sox trying to move some payroll to make room for other players. Teoscar Hernandez is on the Red Sox radar. Could mean the end of the very brief Masataka Yoshida Red Sox era. In the report, talks about the turnover in the Red Sox outfield may not be complete. According to people with knowledge of the conversations, the team remains engaged in talks that could significantly alter its outfield realignment, and that is all about Masataka Yoshida. If the Red Sox indeed found a trade partner for Yoshida and put Hernandez, they could slot Hernandez into right field with O'Neill in left. It goes through the whole Red Sox thing, but this is all about Masataka Yoshida being a trade piece. So where could he go? I've run through all 30 teams, and I find the Philadelphia Phillies as the perfect trade partner, the perfect fit. The Dodgers could grab him, but then the whole lineup is left-handed. There are other teams that could go and get him. The Padres could go and get him. Then they would make sense, but $18 million bucks. And again, Boston's about shedding salary, so they're not going to pay for Yoshida to go play in San Diego. So we got to find a team that can probably take on the money or most of the money and has the need. And I found the Philadelphia Phillies as the best fit. So what's the trade? One piece going to Philadelphia. There's no money that is included in this. There is no Kenley Jansen, though maybe there could be. We're not going to do that in this scenario. We're going to do Masataka Yoshida by himself to Philadelphia and to Boston. Two pitching prospects, Griff McGarry and Orion Kirkring. These are top half of the Philadelphia Phillies pitching prospects. McGarry's in the top 10. Kirkring is just outside the top 10. And where they fit in with the Philadelphia Phillies rotation makes them kind of expendable. They have Abel and Painter as the next two up. They have contracts in with Walker and Nola. They're trying to extend Wheeler. Sanchez has a ton of control. Suarez has multiple years of control. So quite frankly, these are two pitchers that you can part with if you're Philadelphia, and it isn't going to hurt you. And again, Yoshida, you grab him. He's your left fielder. He's got to work on his defense. I get that. We got to get some defensive upgrades here. Work with him. You move Marsh to center field. Rojas becomes your fourth outfielder. Plays all over. It works. How does the trade work? We'll run it through baseball trade values to give us a grade. We have a $3.3 million value for Yoshida, which sounds kind of light. Now, I'm not saying Yoshida should be valued at $20 million, but maybe closer to somewhere in that 5 to 10 range. And the value going to the Red Sox, McGarry and Kirkring, is $610. So we are looking at according to the values here, a minor overpay by the Philadelphia Phillies to get Yoshida. I actually think this is more straightforward. I think this actually just kind of straight up works, period. We can argue about the values, but I think we're pretty close here. I like it. Philadelphia Phillies fans, would you do it? Comment below. And quick reminder, those of you watching the premiere, make sure to hit that like. Help us get to our premiere like goal of 100 if you're enjoying the video. Let's get back to Dylan Cease of the Braves. I said we were going to go back to a familiar trade partner. And here's the thing. The Braves, even after trading Vaughn Grissom to the Boston Red Sox, do still have the pieces to go and get Dylan Cease. We will talk about those pieces in just a moment. But this is a scenario where Alex Anthopoulos, I believe, wants Dylan Cease. I believe Dylan Cease wants to be an Atlanta Brave. Now, it is not up to Dylan Cease. He could want to play anywhere. It does not matter. But if you have both sides with the desire to get something done, Chris Getz, the ball is in your court. And maybe, just maybe, AA and Chris Getz are still talking. Maybe. Wink, wink. All right, let's continue here. Fan-sided. This was the other element that pushed me to go this far. Because on January 3rd, just a couple days ago, we had Zachary Rotman talking about Braves, talking about Cease, talking about the White Sox, and he dug up the same thing. According to ESPN.com, the Reds were the team to be on him earlier, fortified their rotation through free agency. We're not willing to part with what Chris Getz wanted. The Dodgers added to their rotation. The Braves could still swoop in and snag Cease, who Passan says is likely to be moved. Even after trading Grissom, the Braves have some intriguing prospects. An Elder that they can offer the White Sox in exchange for the Georgia native. So you can put together a trade, and we are going to do that, where you send, because that's probably part of Braves fans and other fans when you're thinking about this. You're like, well, after Chris Sale, they don't need Dylan Cease. They have a complete rotation. Well, you're going to be trading one of those rotation pieces to the White Sox to make this work. So, what's the trade? Dylan Cease to the Braves, to the White Sox, A.J. Smith-Shawver, Bryce Elder, maybe more. We know Chris Getz wants an overpay. Smith-Shawver and Elder, will take a look at it. It's pretty even. So if you're going to get that overpay, you're going to have to add more. Maybe you have to add a pitcher like Dylan Dott. Maybe you need to add another prospect or a player on the Major League roster right now to get it up to 3 or 4 players to actually get the deal done, to get Chris Getz to say yes. This trade with A.J. Smith-Shawver and Bryce Elder, we are pretty fair here. Baseball Trade Values gives us a minor overpay with Elder and Smith-Shawver. $45 million coming from Atlanta to Chicago, and Dylan Cease carrying that $40 million. We believe that the valuation, if we're assigning it based on baseball trade values, that you need to send to the White Sox to get Cease is about $60 million. This is $45, so the Braves would need to find another $15 million. But if Chris Getz can bring his ask back down to earth and get a trade like this done, where we are looking more like the A.J. Smith-Shawver, the Bryce Elder, maybe one more piece, you can get it done, and the White Sox do improve with this trade. Chris Getz, make a good trade for your team happen. Would you do this trade? Braves fans, are you willing to part with the 2 of those pitchers, both Elder and A.J. Smith-Shawver, to get Dylan Cease? Comment below, let me know. And let's go to Jesus Luzardo and the New York Mets. That is my trade partner here for this one. We have heard about Jesus Luzardo in Jeff Passan's article, MLB free agency and trade stand entering 2024. We talked about how Peter Bendix, the Marlins' new GM, is in listening mode on all of its players except Yuri Perez, and Luzardo is almost certainly the most valuable among them. And that Luzardo, whether it's the Red Sox, the Orioles, or either of the New York teams, Luzardo would look mighty good in their rotation for the next 3 seasons. 3 years of Jesus Luzardo. And he's coming off a really nice 2023. That's why Luzardo is probably the most coveted arm out there in the trade market right now. And when we take a look at what the Mets look like in 2024, they have work to do. And the names that we're hearing them linked to via free agency are kind of underwhelming. They are back mid to back of the rotation arms. They need another top of the rotation arm. They need a piece that doesn't just help them in 2024, because that's not the goal. The goal is 2025, 2026. Jesus Luzardo does that. That's why I think the Mets are a perfect trade partner here. So let's build the trade. What do we now? Here's a caveat. Here's something you're going to have to do. As we build this trade, this guy's got to be thrown in. Avisail Garcia, if you want to get Jesus Luzardo, you have to include Avisail Garcia and his contract in the deal. Otherwise, Mets fans, you're going to have to give up too much. It is a haul that you're going to have to part with to get Luzardo. But if you're willing to take that money, if you're basically willing to, instead of a prospect, buy Garcia's contract, then the price for Luzardo becomes a little bit more digestible. Here we go. Luzardo and Garcia to the Mets. I understand Garcia crowds the outfield, but again, we're trying to avoid sending a top prospect here. That's what we're doing. The Marlins get Drew Gilbert, Tyler McGill, and Blade Tidwell. Pitching prospect with Tidwell. McGill's ready to slot into the rotation now. And Drew Gilbert, you get a top prospect position player for Luzardo. I'm interested to see what Marlins fans think about this, because I gotta think, if you are the Marlins, Drew Gilbert's a good player, but you probably want Brett Beatty. You probably want Mauricio. You probably want Jet Williams, or you want one of those players, right? Parada. You want one of those players. Acuna. Gilbert isn't a bad get here. I think Marlins fans may feel underwhelmed because, again, they didn't get one of the big names. But I think this trade might get the job done. And when we run it through baseball trade values, you see it is a pretty fair trade. $39.3 million in value to the Mets and $38.4 million in value to the Marlins. You see how much Avisail Garcia's contract impacts the deal. Now, maybe Marlins fans, you say, nope, you know what? Don't want to do it. Take Garcia out. Give us the prospect. And maybe that's what needs to happen. But if that's the case, you may get nobody. You may get nothing. But again, Luzardo's got 3 years of control, so you could just sit and wait it out. But comment below, let me know. Again, this gets a fair trade value when we run it through the baseball trade values machine. So we've got 3 blockbusters here. Yoshida to the Phillies, Cease to the Braves. I'm not going to let that die just yet. I think there's still a chance. And Luzardo to the Mets. Comment below. Let me know what you think. I know, again, this was NL East heavy, not on purpose. After I went through and looked at the players, looked at the teams, looked at how I was thinking with this, I was like, oh, it's all NL East. Okay. It was not done on purpose, but that's just how it worked out. Maybe we have, again, it is a very aggressive division. You can see them all constantly trying to add and improve their teams, and they all still maybe have another move to make. Maybe these are it. Comment below. Let me know what you think, everybody. Make sure to hit that like if you have not yet. Those watching the premiere, help us out. Help us get to that premiere like goal if we haven't already yet, and it'll get us closer to the overall like goal. Make sure to do that. Drop a like if you enjoyed your time here. That's it, everybody. We are done with this one. Make sure to comment, help us get to the comment goal, and subscribe if you have not yet. Ballcap Nation, I salute you. Thank you for your support. Thank you guys for coming in and watching the video. And as always, if it's low, let it go. And if it's high, let it fly.